Namaskar students. So we are discussing about the mathematical modeling of physical system. In last lecture we were discussing about force voltage analogy and force current analogy. Now in this chapter we are going to study what is the transfer function, and then after we'll try to mathematically model our mechanical system into electrical system using both the analogies that we have discussed, that is force voltage and force current analogy. So what is transfer function? So transfer function is we can say it is very useful thing as far as the control system is concerned. So generally the differential equations are inconvenient for the analysis and the design of the control system, and so the use of Laplace transformation, and that is used to convert the differential equation into the algebraic equation, which made the calculation very easy. Now in control theory, the functions called, that is the transfer function, are commonly used to characterize between the input relationship and the output relationship of any kind of system. Okay, it can be described for a linear time invariant differential equation. So let we begin by defining the transfer function, because it is the crest of the whole control system analysis. So what is the transfer function? So transfer function of any linear time invariant differential equation, these words should be underlined, that it should be linear as well as time invariant differential equation. System is defined as the ratio of the Laplace transform of outputs, or we can say the response function to the Laplace transform of input. It means the driving function, under the assumption that the all initial conditions are 0. Okay, so mathematically we can represent transfer function g of s is equal to Laplace transform of output divided by the Laplace transform of input with 0 initial condition. Okay, so in short you can remember that the Laplace transform of output divided by the Laplace transform of input. Now consider this time invariant system that is defined by the following differential equation. Here the first term is your output differential equation and second term is your input differential equation, and generally the value of n is greater than or equal to m. Here you can see the n number of differential equations are there for output and m number of equations are there for input. Here y is the output of the system and x is input of the system. So this is your output differential equation and this is your input differential equation. If you want to find the transfer function, then just take the Laplace transform of output divided by the Laplace transform of input, that is shown right here. Okay, the one thing that you have to keep in mind that your initial conditions are 0. Now what are the different properties of transfer function that are summarized right here? Before going to start the properties of transfer function, let me just call you that by using the concept of transfer function, it is possible to represent the system dynamics by the algebraic equations in the terms of S, that is Laplace or the frequency domain. Now if the highest power of s in the denominator of the transfer function is equal to n, then the system is called an nth order system, and that is denoted by the g of s previous, that is this g of s. So in denominator and numerator we are going to find the order of the system and the type of the system. Okay, later on when we are finding any transfer function, I will tell you what is the order of the system and what is the type of the system. Now the different properties of transfer function that are summarized as follow, and the first property is it is defined only for a linear time invariant system. It means that your system is not going to vary with respect to the time, so the behavior of the system is linear. It is not defined for non-linear system. Okay, so this is important. The second thing is all initial condition of the systems are set to be 0. So as far as electrical system is concerned, if in the circuit you are having inductor and capacitor, so we are assuming that they are not initially charged. Okay, so all the initial condition of the systems are set to be 0. The third property is the transfer function is independent of the input of the system. Okay, so you can see that your g of s is your transfer function, and that is y of s, that is Laplace of output and Laplace of input. But still you can say that your transfer function is independent of your input of the system. Okay, I'll explain you in detail. Now the transfer function is said to be strictly proper if the order of the denominator polynomial is greater than that of the numerator. That means your n is greater than m. In that case, your function is said to be strictly proper. Now if the n is equal to m, in that case your transfer function is called proper, and the transfer function is said to be improper in case of when the m is greater than n. It means m is what? The differential equation, highest order of differential equation in case of input is greater than your output. In that case we can say that your transfer function is improper. Okay, so these are the 4 properties that you have to keep in mind. Now whenever you try to find the transfer function of any system, you have to follow certain pattern, and in that case you can find transfer function of any system. Okay, sometimes you might find this kind of system, that is seesaw. In that case, that finding of transfer function is very easy. Seesaw means single input, single output. Sometimes you see this kind of system, that is MIMO, that is multiple input, multiple output. In that case the transfer function will be found out in a different way. You have to use the principle of superposition. Okay, sometimes you find MISO or CMO kind of system also. So all these things we are going to understand as far as the transfer function is concerned. Okay, so let us take a simple example that we are going to find a transfer function of particular system. In that case, the procedure you should follow. The first step is to formulate the equation for the system using the physical law. So whatever either mechanical, electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, any kind of system is given to you, first try to formulate the differential equation using the basic physical law. So if you are dealing with electrical system, you have to use KCL, KVL and Ohm's law, and you can find the differential equation. Okay, if you are using mechanical system, in that case you have to use all the physical laws of mechanical engineering and try to find the differential equation. Okay, the second step is take the Laplace transform of the system equation assuming initial condition as 0. So we know the transfer function is nothing but the Laplace transformation of output divided by the Laplace transformation of input. So once you find the equations, then you have to find the Laplace transform of all these equations. So we can take the ratios of output and input, and here you have to take one thing in mind, that is the initial conditions are set to be 0. Okay, the third step is specify the system output and the specify input. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with any kind of system, you should have understand that what is input of the system and what is the output of the system, and then you can take the ratio of output and input. Okay, so this step is very important to understand, to identify the output and input of any system. And then very easy, take the ratio of Laplace transform of output and the Laplace transform of input, and the ratio is obtained in step 4 is nothing but your required transfer function. Okay, so this step you have to follow. It is very easy, it's just formulate equation, then take the Laplace transform of that equation, then identify input and output and take the ratios of output and input, and you will get your transfer function of any system. Okay, now let us take an example. Before that, let me clear you one important thing as far as your control system engineering is concerned. You will be every time facing the two terms, that is poles and zeros. So if you have any transfer function and you want to find the poles and zeros of the transfer function, so what is the pole and what is the zeros? So a transfer function of a linear control system that can be given by this equation that we have also seen before. Now the numerator and denominator can be factored into m and n terms respectively. So you can see the equation of numerator is right here and denominator is having some another equation. if you find the different factor for this equation and this equation, you will get m and n number of terms respectively. Okay, so here you can see the different factors can be found, that is k into the bracket s plus z1, s plus z2, s plus up to s plus zm. Same way you can find for your denominator. When you solve this equation, you will have different values of s, that is s plus p1, s plus p2 up to s plus n. Okay, it should be s plus zn. Okay, where k is nothing but the term b0 divided by a0, in generally known as the gain factor of the transfer function. Okay, so this singular point at which the g of s or its derivative approach infinity, that generally calls 0. It means whenever you put is equal to 0, and at that point you will get the number of values of s, that is s is equal to, if you put s plus p1 is equal to 0, in that case you will get s is equal to p1. Here you get s is equal to minus p2, s is equal to minus p3, and so on. At the end s is equal to minus, sorry, it is pn. Okay, pn. So these are nothing but the values of your poles. So whenever you given any transfer function, if you find the roots of the denominator, it will be your poles of the system. Whenever you given a transfer function and the singular point at which the function g of s equal to 0, that are called the zeros of the system. So in that system, when the system becomes 0, when this upper portion will become 0, it means when s plus z1 is equal to 0, in that case your transfer function will become 0. So if you put s plus z1 is equal to 0, this all system will be 0. So if you put s plus z1 is equal to 0, then the value of s is equal to minus z1. Same you can apply for s plus z2, s plus z3 up to s plus zm. In this case you can get the value, that is minus z2, minus z3 up to minus zm. So all these are nothing but the values of zeros. So simply you can remember that whenever your derivative approach the infinity, okay, so whenever you put 0 right here, in that case your transfer function will become infinity, that calls poles of the system. And when the g of s, which your transfer function, equals to 0, that are the zeros of the transfer function. Okay, so easily you can find whatever the differential equation or whatever the equation is in denominator and numerator, you have to find the roots of the system. Once you find the roots of the system, whatever will be in the numerator, it will give you zeros. Whatever will be in the denominator, it will give you poles of the system. Okay, we'll try to solve one example also. In that case, you will get what are the poles of the system and what are the zeros of the system. These two things are very important whenever we are dealing with stability of the system, finding the root locus, finding the Bode plot. These two poles and zeros are very important. Okay, so try to understand how we can find the values of poles of the system and zeros of the system. Now let us take an example to find the transfer function of a linear system, that is this mechanical system given right here. Now in this mechanical system you can see that this is the reference, it means this end is fixed. This fixed end is connected with spring that have the spring constant k. Another thing is right here is damper, that is also connected with this mass element, that mass of the system is given by m, and the force applying to the system in this forward direction, that is f of t, and due to there is a displacement into the system, that is x of t in this direction. Okay, so the mass of the system is given as m. The damper element here in this figure you can see it is f of v, and here we have used b to show the damper element. You can use either f or b, anything you want to use. In some books they may using f, in some books they may using b. both are the same thing. Okay, it doesn't matter if you use B or F. Okay, the F of t is nothing but the applied force in forward direction. The displacement will be due to applying this force, there will be some displacement in the system, that is x of t. The spring displacement constant, that is k. So if we want to find the total acting force in the forward direction, then it will be the force due to this mass element plus force due to this damper element plus force due to this spring element. Okay, now individual force acting on this can be also find in our previous lecture. We have discussed that whenever a mass is applied to certain kind of force, in that case what will be the value of force. When spring is applied any kind of force, in that case what will be the equation for spring force. Okay, same way we have also find for damper. So simply just put the value of Fm, Fd and Fk. So for Fm it is nothing but force is equal to mass into acceleration. So mass is given as m, acceleration can be represented as dv by dt, and v also can be written as dx by dt. So if you put the value of v into this equation, you will get d square x by dt square, that you can see right here, m into d square x by dt square. The same way force due to this damper element can be written as the damper constant, that is b, multiplied by dx by dt. Okay, here you can see only the one displacement is there in all of three cases, that is why we don't have to worry about the other displacement, because one end is fixed right here. Okay, so force due to the spring element will be the spring constant k multiplied by the distance, that is x. So total acting force can be written as f of t is equal to m d square x by dt square plus b dx by dt plus k multiplied by x. Now this is the first step of finding a transfer function, then that is by using physical laws try to find the differential equation. Okay, this is our first step. Now what is the second step? The second step is to find the Laplace transformation of whatever the equation that we get from the any kind of system. So here this equation is, let's say this equation, so we have to find the Laplace transformation of the equation. So Laplace transformation of f of t is nothing but f of s. The Laplace transformation of m, it is constant, that is why m can be written. Laplace transformation of d square x by dt square is nothing but your d square, that is why s square, and the function is x of t, that is why x of s. Now all other term will be there, s raised to 1 and s raised to 0, but we are assuming that all initial conditions are set to be 0, and that is why these all terms will be 0. In that case we don't have to worry about all of this. Okay, so simply we can write the Laplace transform of d square x by dt square is nothing but s square x of s. Okay, so it is very easy. This is second derivative, that is why we are putting s square. If it is first derivative dx by dt, in this case we are writing only s raised to 1. Okay, this is nothing but s raised to 1. So b is constant. The Laplace transformation of dx by dt is s multiplied by whatever the function, that is x of t, that is why x of s. Again this spring constant k is constant. Okay, so just put it outside, and the Laplace transformation of x is nothing but x of s. So this is what our second step to finding the Laplace transformation of our differential equation. Now what is third step? Third step to identify the output of the system and the input of the system. Now here you can see we have written that the output of the system is displacement and input of the system, I have made one mistake. Output of the system is displacement and your force is nothing but your input of the system. Okay, I have made one mistake, that is f of s is input of the system, that is applied force. How we can identify? So this is mechanical system. Whenever we are applying force in this direction, there will be some displacement. So if we are varying the value of force, the value of displacement will be changed. Okay, so value of x will depends always on the value of force f of t. In that way we can find that input is your force, and due to that we will get output, that is the displacement. Okay, so your x of s is your displacement and that is output, and f of is your input of the system. So this is all about our third step. And what is fourth step? To take the Laplace transformation of output divided by the Laplace transformation of input. In that case we get our final transfer function. So transfer function is nothing but Laplace transformation of output divided by Laplace transformation of input. Now we know that output is our x of s, that is displacement, and f of s is our input, that is Laplace transformation of input. So from this equation you can see that here x of s and x of s is constant in this equation. Okay, so just take it outside. So we can write x of s is nothing but multiply by s square into m plus s into b plus k, and that is equal to left hand side, it is f of s. Okay, so we have taken this outside, that x of s, in that case m s square plus bs plus k, that is right here. Now we know that your x of is your output and f is your input. So if you want to find the transfer function, in that case you have to find your output upon input. So just take the ratios of your output divided by input. In that case, if you just take x of s divided by f of s, this will go in opposite side, and that will be 1 divided by whatever the term is there. Let's say it is q, let us denote as a q. In that case it will be 1 divided by q, that is right here. So 1 divided by m s square plus bs plus k. So this is your ratio of displacement of divided by your applied force, that is 1 divided by m s square plus bs plus k is equal k. Okay, this is your transfer function. Now in that case we are interested to find the number of poles and number of zeros of the system and the value of poles and value of zeros. Here you can see in the denominator, okay, we have m s square plus bs plus k. So if we want to find the roots of this m s square plus bs plus k is equal to 0, and if you find the roots, then you will get s1 is equal to some terms and also s2 is equal to some terms. Okay, you know how to find the roots of the system, that is minus b under root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, if you do so, you will find the value of s1 and s2, that will be your poles of the system, because whenever you put the value of s1 into this equation, this transfer function becomes infinite. That is why this is known as poles of the system. Here you can see there is no zeros in the system, because here in numerator it is 1 only. So this system has how many poles? The number of poles will be 2, 1 and 2, because this is second order equation. So now let me tell you what is the order of the system and what is the type of the system. Okay, so these equations in denominator, it is also called your characteristics equation. Characteristic equation. Okay, this equation m s square plus bs plus k is equal to 0 is also known as characteristics equation, and whenever you find the roots of characteristics equation, it will give you the poles of the system, that is s1 and s2. Now the order of this characteristics equation will give you the order of the system. So highest order of your characteristics equation give you order of the system. So highest order is, here you can see the highest order is 2. That is why your order of the system is 2. If this equation in this term, that is s raised to 4 plus 2s cube plus s raised to square plus s plus 1, and in denominator let us say it is 1 only, and this is your transfer function. Okay, let us take an example. In that case, the highest order will be 4. So the order of the system will be 4 only. Okay. Now, what is the type of the system? Let me just give you the definition of type of the system, but we'll study this type of the system later on. So type of the system is nothing but the number of pole at the origin will give you the type of the system. If you find the value of S1 and S2, you will get some value, either it will be positive value or negative value. But whenever you find the roots of your characteristics equation, here you can see your characteristic equation is 4th order. In that case, you will get 4 different value of your poles. Let's say your one pole is S is equal to 0, and another pole, let's say it is 1, 2 and 3, whatever it is. Okay, so your one pole is at origin, it means the value of S is 0. In that case, we can say that the type of the system is 1. So when you find the roots of characteristics equation and your pole is landed on the origin of your real and imaginary axis, in that case you can say the type of the system is 1. Now if 2 poles lies on the origin, in that case you can say the type of the system is 2. Same way, if 3 pole, in that case you can say the type of the system is 3. Okay, so order of the system is nothing but the highest degree of your polynomial, and type of the system is the number of roots at origin will give you type of the system. Okay, I think this is clear. We will going to understand the type of the system again in whenever we are dealing with root locus, but order of the system is very easy. So highest degree of your polynomial is order of the system. Here it is 2, that is why order of the system is 2. Here it is 4, so order is 4. Okay, so these are some properties that you have to keep in mind when we are dealing with transfer function. So what is poles, what is zeros, what is order of the system, type of the system, that are very important. Okay, now let us take another example of electrical network. Here you can see that circuit is given right here. So R1 is there, in parallel branch there is R2 and one capacitor is connected. All are given in a frequency domain, that is 1 upon SC. Your input is given by Vi of S, output is given by V of S. Okay, now by applying the Kirchhoff's law in this first loop, we can find that VIS, that is equal to the voltage drop across this element will be R1 multiplied by whatever the current that is flowing. Let's say it is I of S. Okay, so Vi of S is equal to R1 multiplied by I of S. Same current will flow, so voltage drop will be R2 divided by I of S plus 1 upon SC multiplied by I of S. So this term I of S is constant, that is why we are taking it outside, and the rest of the thing will be R1 plus R2, and you just take LCM in that case, plus C of S, C into S plus 1 divided by C into S. Now same way, if you apply the Kirchhoff's law in second loop, in that case your output voltage V of S is equal to the R2 into I of S plus 1 upon Cs into I of S. There is no other element. Okay, here you can see 1, 2 and 3 element. Here it is only 2 element in this loop. That is why R2 into I of S plus 1 upon C into S into I of S. Here also the I of S is constant. That is why we are taking it outside, and just simplifying this equation, you will get R2 into C of S plus 1 divided by C of Cs. Okay. Now here it is easily understandable that your input and output. So this is first step to formation of your differential equation, and second step is to find the Laplace transformation of your whatever the differential equation is. So both the step is completed. Now third step is to identify the input of the system and output of the system. So it is very easy. Input of the system is VIS and out of the system is V0S. Okay, so this is very easy. The fourth step is to take the ratio of Laplace transform of output of the system and input of the system. So this is, let's say, this equation number 1, this equation number 2. The transfer function will be this V0S divided by Vi of S. So if you take it, in that case, this term, that is I of S and I of S, is same in both the equations, so it will be cancel out. The C of S and C of S is also same, so it will be cancel out. The whatever the term will remain, that is R2 C into S plus 1 divided by R1 plus R2 C into S plus 1, that is right here. Okay, now we are just simplifying this equation by putting R2 into C into S is equal to T1 and R1 plus R2 into C into S plus 1 is equal to T2. If you just put this value, in that case your transfer function will be T1 S plus 1 T2 S plus 1, when the value of T1 and T2 will generally depends on the value of your resistance and capacitor. Okay, now here you can see that if you wish to find the poles of the system and zeros of the system and tell me what is the order of the system and type of the system, this 4 thing I am asking to you. So try to think and then let me show you what will be the result. Okay, poles, order and type. I hope you have your answer now. Okay, so first tell me, very easy, order of the system is nothing but whenever you see your characteristics equation, that is T2S plus 1 is equal to 0. This is your characteristics equation, and if you find the roots of your characteristics equation, it will give you poles, but the highest order of your characteristics equation is your order of the system. So here highest order is S raised to 1, that is why your order of the system is 1. Okay, you will get 1 mark if your answer is 1. Now whenever you find the roots of characteristics equation, it is very easy. T2 into S plus 1 is equal to 0. You don't have to solve any equation, that is why T2 S is equal to, you can write minus 1. So S is equal to minus 1 upon T2. Okay, so that will be the value of your pole, because whenever you solve your characteristics equation, the roots of the characteristic equation will give you the value of pole, and that is S is equal to 1 upon T2. So pole kitla malse? The pole will be S is equal to minus 1 upon T2, and number of pole will be 1. Same way you can find 0 using solving this equation, so that will be minus 1 upon T1 only. Okay, you solve this equation, you will get minus 1 upon T1, and number of pole here also the number of zeros is 1 only. What is the type of the system? So here you can see the roots is minus 1 upon T1, so there is no root is lying on the origin, that is why the type of the system is 0. So this should be your answer of pole, 0, order and type of any kind of system. Okay, so with this I hope you understand what is the transfer function, poles, zeros, order of the system and type of the system. So with this we are closing our lecture now. In next lecture we are going to start how to develop a mechanical equivalent network from electrical network, and from electrical network we are going to find the mechanical network using FV and FI analogy. Thank you.